We're the Falcons. We live, learn, and soar.
Woohoo!
Cheyenne McCowan, first grade teacher at Forest Ridge.
Angie Sass, first grade teacher at Forest Ridge.
Teresa Cott, I'm the principal at Forest Ridge.
Pam Beard, second grade at Forest Ridge.
Penny Roberts, first grade teacher at Forest Ridge.
Hillary Rollins, first grade, Forest Ridge.
Amy Burns, first grade teacher at Forest Ridge.
When we all went in to actually observe the lesson, so you've planned a lesson, you don't yet know who's going to teach it. That means we're all in. and then, as Pam mentioned earlier, we all had a specific area to observe. And so I know I looked at children from special education that were in that particular classroom, and I was to laser beam and really watch that area. And then the other teachers were also observing specific areas. And so the conversation that happened after that was the best staff development that I think could happen, because it was from a real experience where a lot of planning went into that experience, and then the multiple perspectives. I've done thousands of observations, but I can only see one perspective at a time. And so the power for me in that was to hear all these different things that I didn't see. And so it helps you see how much richness is really in a particular lesson, and help me really understand, because my confusion in the beginning was, how on earth can we benefit from planning one lesson? This is a lot of time, a lot of energy to teach one lesson. And I had a hard time, had to be involved in it. So I was a silent partner with second grade and didn't say too much, even though, that's hard for me. But to try to see how this could really be so powerful. And that's what Pam said, is at the end it was like, okay, there's so much richness and so much that came out of that, and all the things we try to put into staff development that came up naturally in the conversation.
Yeah, and to go on to what you're saying, the process just ends up becoming so natural and fluid, and it's really meets the needs of the teacher. We're always talking about meeting your needs for your students, but this lesson plan process really is also meeting the needs of the teacher in her specific classroom, and the way she, bringing my own personal experiences and then listening to my fellow teachers. I'm like, wow, I could do that too. It's just having that open time to talk about it. You didn't know what maybe somebody did in her classroom because we don't get to go see it.
Well, and one thing at the very beginning we were all super nervous about was who is going to be the one to teach this lesson. And now, not that we won't be nervous that day, but it feels like regardless of how the lesson turns out, it's not on me, it's we. And we planned this. I'm just executing it this day. But one thing we all really did feel pretty passionate about was being able to teach it to our class. Mm-hmm. We feel like we know the ins and outs of all the kids and our students. Mm-hmm. And so when we see something going on, we kind of know how to redirect or to guide. When you go into another person's class, you don't necessarily know all those ins and outs of the students. While you weren't the lesson to work and all of them, the teacher is really the expert on that. I don't think we're as nervous as much as we just want each of us, whoever it is that teaches it, wants to do a good job to represent the effort and all the energy that's been put into planning this lesson.
I think that's something that was super beneficial for us as a team was, and this is just my perspective looking at it now, is I'm not sure how second grade did it. I think you guys probably knew you wanted to do an ELA lesson, but where you were in your curriculum, not sure. For us, it just happened that when we were looking through the curriculum, it was going to be a brand new unit. So I'm excited to see the power of where this unit is going to go, because Angie, as she has stated, is new to the team this year, but the lesson that we're teaching is brand new to every single one of us that have been here and taught it before, because we're doing it in a different approach. And I think it's beneficial to start something like this at the beginning of a unit so that you can see that power and richness throughout the whole unit and build upon each lesson as you go along.
That's great that you said that, because ours came in the middle of something, and we really stressed on, well, we can't teach it before if this is our goal for the lesson. And so we actually ended up moving something in the curriculum for a week so that we could be at the right spot to start the lesson. So as far as improvement, maybe more flexibility in when the lesson study is done.
I know, Angie, you said the support from the Region 6 Service Center, having that person here, having Colleen here was, you know, she was amazing because she did just enough support. And
she was really good too.
She was.
Yeah. There was moments where we were kind of thinking she was going to lead on and give us more, and she just sat. And we're like, okay, let's think it through.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So I guess we're still thinking.
So having that support person, you mentioned, Cheyenne, you said having that time, that full day of time.
We know our schedule, our timeline. That's really important because not only are we doing this, we have 20 plus kids to teach, plus all the lessons and the lesson planning for our regular day, not just this one lesson, trying to, you know, piece together field trips and this and that. So just knowing in advance just the agenda and having the protected time, you know, and when we have that, then we're able to do field trips and fun activities and garden courtyard days.
But I know the day before we taught the lesson, the one teacher's home because she has little children, and she and I are tweaking together through collaboration in a Google Doc what little changes we needed to make for the next day. And so I really think that was imperative to help with the time piece, and that we could not have to be face to face all the time in working on that.
And I think this would be beneficial to actually start the lesson study in the fall, just as a new teacher, to build that team camaraderie, you know, to come together and really see people's strengths in a team and come together for the rest of the year. I think that it would have been very powerful to even start it first thing in the fall, because it seems in the spring we get so busy with testing and everything that the fall would be a great time to start this right out the doors.
As we were talking about this before, I mean, it's a natural, what we're doing for the lesson study. It's what we do on a day-to-day basis. But, you know, we've said it before, we just dig deeper, we go in harder, we focus more on particular things. And so I don't think it would be much different than what, I think it would be great to add it and do more with it with professional development. And that all the grade levels, you know, get a taste
to use
of
it with like
and
vertical
use it.
planning.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the
You see
alignment.
where one grade left off,
Right.
or where the next one is going to take it, and where you really need to.
And you know, we did in the beginning, we did look at the first planning day that we had, because we didn't want to step on second grade's toes with what they were going to be taught in second grade, but then we also didn't want to backtrack and teach something that the kids had already learned in kinder. So I agree with Angie, that's great to do with the vertical alignment to make sure that we're all on the same page.
And so I think listening to you guys, there's so much power in just your conversation with one another that can then translate into our daily practice, which, you know, it would be something that we'd certainly consider and want to do again. We still feel like we would need support in that process as we get a structure in place, because the power's in the structure and the process. So.